Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Stithi Prakarana, section 57, methods of destroying vasanas. Sage Vasishtha continues, giving profound insight into the state of enlightenment. He has nothing else to do. How can Lord Shiva, who delights in the dance of goddess Parvati, be entertained by the dance of a monkey? See, highly poetic language. All worldly delights are experienced through your mind. And mind is a monkey. Firstly, every delight, what you are experiencing is not a solid matter. It is lots of thought waves put together. Every experience in a cinema show, you are not looking at anything steady. You are looking at fragments of so many things happening together, and your mind creates an illusion that it's all continuous story. But it is not so. Implying that if you are seeking your perfection here in the world of mental projections, that's impossible. You are looking to find the screen while watching the show, in between the actors, etc. Where lies the screen? You can't get it. Projections must stop, or you must have profound understanding not to be deluded by projections. Then your attention is on the reality behind the projections. This point has been the profound topic in all Vedanta literature and Raja Yoga. Projection-based experiences are called pratyaya. All your experiences are based on vrittis of the mind. But the reality behind all those experiences, when projections are completely withdrawn, when the cinema show is over, all that you are looking at is the screen all the time. But even though you are looking at the screen, your mind was enjoying all things, illusions created by projections. So no matter what type of projection you are facing, the reality behind it is your consciousness. Pure consciousness is undisturbed, unaffected. Chit, absolute awareness. Allowing that understanding to steep into your heart, that's the project of spiritual sadhana and for attaining enlightenment. And it is a progressive movement. You suddenly don't become enlightened. But as you progress, you begin to experience integration in your personality. Integration of 4 factors. Action. Action means facing your practical realities, handling all your problems, and along with it, being good to yourself and good to others. Just don't forget about the others. If you want to be good to yourself, you have to be good to others. And if you are confused about good to yourself, start doing good to others. That will open the door of being good to yourself. So that Karma Yoga movement. But along with Karma Yoga movement, Bhakti, now you begin to love any opportunity that allows you to be good, feel good, to do good. What can bring you that taste? Experience of love. Whose love? Any love of relatives, no matter how good the relatives are, is not secure. Because nobody is secure in their life. All people are mortal personalities. And everyone's life is led by their karmas in such a way that if your happiness depends upon somebody's lifestyle or somebody's personality, you can't secure that happiness. But at the same time, if you develop maturer level, while feeling cozy with your relatives, understand the source of our coziness is God. So when you look into the eyes of your dear ones, go into the pupils of the eyes. Who is looking through those eyes? And that is the secret of developing the ideal form of relationships. Matridevo bhava. Every child comes, you are introduced. Let mother be your God. Let father be your God. Turn the table. Let the baby be your God. The baby girl be your goddess. It goes both ways. And that type of deep understanding allows you to live life of increasing enrichment. Now we are coming to the third level, will. Will aspect is the basis of your becoming rich. But the rich I'm talking about, not ordinary wealth. Ordinary wealth doesn't go with you. You may be powerful personalities, very all that, but when you kick the bucket, you don't take even your shoes. But the wealth that goes with you is your virtuous qualities, goodness of the heart, and those called lakshanas. In Ramayana, personified by Lakshmana. See, all the four brothers, they are four yogas. Shatrughna is karma yoga, doing your duties that will remove impurities of the heart. Bharata is bhakti yoga, developing love of God in the midst of loving all people. Lakshmana, will aspect of your personality that goes into very profound strength, where your will is directed towards serving God, when your will becomes directed towards the goal of attaining enlightenment. And that will emerges by the practice of meditation, concentration, meditation, samadhi. And in Jnana Yoga movement, the same things are brought out through Shavana, Manana, Nididhyasana, listening, reflection, profound meditation. All that movement allows you to develop virtuous qualities. You learn the art of transmuting anger into love. You begin to realize all negative qualities that make people feel they are winning in the world by being angry, by being nasty, by bringing all the teeth out. All that is short-circuited energy. Go into a house that is shouting in from all directions because of short-circuited electricity. The short-circuited excitement, that is dangerous. As you advance, instead of anger, you go on building up an internal understanding. There is no room for hating anyone. That doesn't mean you just go towards everyone in a very cozy manner. Practical reality is different. But in your heart, why should you carry grudge? And finally, jnana, wisdom, represented by Rama. All the four must enter your personality in your daily life. But when you are describing all this, your mind begins to collect so many data. But all this, a tree, when it grows, it has many things to face. But the tree doesn't have any headache about it. It simply grows. If you become deeply inspired through satsanga and through a life that begins to emulate or begin to assimilate the teachings, integral yoga enters your life in a spontaneous way. But at the same time, your self-effort is always needed day by day. Things don't suddenly move into your life without your self-effort being involved. So God awakens in you the strength of self-effort. You work for it. And accordingly, you progress. Self-effort blends with grace. simple point I'm leading you to understand that integral yoga is the direct path leading to liberation. And for practicing integral yoga, you don't have to work hard. Any particular yoga that you are doing profoundly, if you are profoundly doing your works in daily life with the spirit of yoga, automatically your work is enhancing your devotion. Your devotion is all promoting concentration of mind. All this is promoting your understanding. In other words, just like you move your body, you cannot just move only your legs. The whole body wants to go with it. Your neck wants to go with it. The head wants to go with it. So you cannot just... Similarly, all these four is like one limb. Sampurna yoga. When we say yoga, then all these four are in balance. An aspirant should have that type of understanding. So you are not just practicing yoga just by closing your door. You are practicing yoga in handling your daily duties, handling people around you, near and dear ones. You are dealing with your own problems coming from your body and mind. All that is yoga. If you are doing it with that type of inner faith and inner awareness. So, when you have become a true aspirant, following the path of integral yoga, your mind begins to envision the dance of Lord Shiva. Now, what is fascinating you is to have communion with God. And you look at the world, and the world also teaches you, look who is dancing through all these atoms and electrons. Everything is pulsating. Whose damaru is ringing everywhere. So it is a hymn towards, that means it is God towards whom you must flow. Otherwise, any other type of pleasure is a monkey dance. So one side, the divine dance. Divine dance uses only one verse, universe. Monkey dance uses many reverses. So, allow your mind to become fascinated by the divine dance. That's described in scriptures. Rasa Leela, Krishna's dance, Shiva's dance. The entire world is God's glory dancing everywhere. And if you see any animal or bird dancing and soaring, understand it is that divine presence is working through them. So how can Lord Shiva, who delights in the dance of Goddess Parvati, be entertained by a dance of a monkey? Much in the same way, how can a sage, who delights in the bliss of the self, be attracted by the pleasures of the senses. Pleasures of the senses should not become your dominating reality. And that needs to be understood with sensitivity. It doesn't mean that you shut out all pleasures of the senses. If that is so, you can't digest your food. You have to have things that delight your tongue. But all the delight from the world that you get, they are meant to help you to be nourished so that you can delight, develop that delight that draws you to God. And simpler point, in every delight, allow your mind to understand the source of that delight is God. While a crane seated by a muddy pool of water revels in feeding on decaying objects, a swan seeks its delight in soaring through the blue sky and drinking from the sacred lakes of the Himalayas. All these allegorical teachings, just like you spoke about Shiva on one side and monkey on the other side. If the soul is deluded by the worldly pleasure, that soul is described as a crane. Put it more in ordinary language, a duck. Duck stays stuck with a lake, going after ordinary fishes, and sometimes just stays on and on. Swan, on the other hand, soars. And again, mystical swan goes to the Himalayas. Try to understand the two similes. Duck type of sadhana makes you very patient to sit by the lake, full of concentration. But for what? When a fish jumps, grab it. That's the same sadhana movement. When it is being led by impure intellect, then you practice your concentration for gaining success in gambling, gaining success in various petty things which are actually degrading. But even that requires concentration. So that concentration is that ugly concentration of those cranes or ducks. On the other hand, concentration that allows you to soar. Hamsa, swan, Sanskrit word for swan is hams. And hams literally implying I am that. Aham sa. So that I am that enters your feeling. You rise beyond all illusions. So the moral of this story, or the moral of this simile is, don't be ducked into dungeon by following the illustration of a duck. But rise and soar like a swan. To be enlightened. While the ignorant delight in polluted pleasures of the senses, a sage experiences eternal bliss through self-realization. See? Think of the mind that, let me have a good retired life, then the mind starts going to the Google, looking for all the hotels and easily available pleasures. That type of delight is polluted pleasure. You are not really being benefited. You are simply allowing yourself to be led by your ego. And ego becomes so dominating that you don't have any possibility for real relaxation, because ego is always demanding. But if you follow integral yoga, your ego begins to humble down. So much so that even though you are active in a dynamic way, and yet you are enjoying deep sleep, both at the same time. Don't take it literally. Sleep like peace. This again, simile is not so impossible. In your daily life, you take up some project of a very loving type. Your son or daughter is getting married, you become so deeply involved. You work so hard. And at the same time, as if you have not done enough. Following the same illustration, put it in an advanced way. If you bring in love of God in your performance of duties, then all your activities, no matter how hard they may appear, to you it is a joyous development. A mountain climber, having climbed and amazed the audience by climbing little hills. Now he wants to amaze the audience by climbing bigger hills. Instead of sitting back saying, I have climbed already all those things and look, my leg is paining. On the other hand, he is looking for, when will I have the opportunity for climbing bigger mountains? All these are allegorical. I'm not asking you to climb mountain. But giving you the idea, facing challenges in life, if you are properly integrated, challenges will not bring despair or discouragement. Rather, will build up an inner strength. You begin to correct your focus on God. Go deep into your mantra. Take more nourishment from satsanga. And on the basis of this, allow energy to develop that doesn't look at a challenge in a negative way. looks at it as a leela. God is going to work it and He is going to give me the credit. Kacha. Sanskrit word kacha. Ka is kriya movement, your conduct. Cha is a process leading you to Chandra, the moon. Cha word is also used for chamak, damak, things that shine and flash. The type of the action implies here your yogic movement, your integral yoga, allowing your soul to discover its increasing effulgence. That's Kacha movement. Therefore that name Kacha. And he is the son of Brihaspati, the guru of gods. That's storyline. You don't have to verify by historical research. Oh Rama, listen to the utterances of Kacha. I have already explained to you, this is the art. Instead of Vasishtha saying, I am saying to you, then it gets boring. We're already talking about so many things. Now, he says the same thing, but brings a story behind. Once upon a time, son of divine Brihaspati, Kacha, ascended the heights of his spiritual wisdom as a result of his repeated practice of listening, reflection, and meditation. They pointed out the 3 stages. Shravana, listening. What listening does? It allows your mind not to stay with doubts. Doubting mind disturbs your route. Listening, therefore, is a tremendous art. You not just ordinarily you go to satsang while listening. But are you really listening? That requires practice. Because our mind is always already made up certain ideas, certain views, opinions, mind has already made up. So when you are listening, you have already put a swab on your ear. And as mind becomes increasingly purified, listening goes deep into your heart. If it is not purified, listening, you are hungry, you want to have to eat halwa in satsang. All that you are listening, this world has no happiness in it. This is mithya. Each time he says mithya, you think of your halwa. I'm just joking, but you understand. All our people are not listening. There is always some halwa in their minds. But be patient. Gradually, doubts of your mind, doubts implying mind doesn't have a definite view. Your view is scattered because of various, you are not confident about it. But by listening profoundly, the doubts move away. The next obstacle that comes in your way, you understand your goal is self-realization, and the world experience is not reality, you must move away. All that understanding is there. Only one thing is wrong. I can't attain it in this life. A sense of impossibility called asambhavana. That asambhavana restricts one's progress. You start studying the Upanishads, the Vedas, etc. But hardly you go into the study, you say to yourself, I'm studying it for my next birth. Because this birth I don't have time enough. The mind uses its own foxy insight and considers it this is the only way. You must realize when you are following the spiritual path, you don't maintain the same mind. Mind now being infused with divine touch. That mind becomes Hanuman. Mind is monkey, but when touched by God, impossible doesn't exist for it. Now the same mind that sustained your despair, your sense of weakness, impossibility, the same mind now develops a profound confidence, unshaken. Then you have that's called manana. What you have listened to, now you have assimilated it. It takes its own time. Cows eat. After eating, they chew the cud. Not curd, cud. And manana ends up or gradually evolves into nididhyasana. Dhyasana, dhyana. Vedantic dhyana is mind highlighted by that understanding. All is Brahman. So wherever the mind goes, it is going only after Brahman. You sit by the ocean and your mind goes after wave and goes into the curiosity. Where is that particular wave going? That's the illustration of normal mind going after objects of the world. Nididhyasana, mind has understood that no matter what wave, it is the ocean. You don't have to wait for the waves to go away to see the ocean. You are always seeing the ocean. Ocean first, waves after. So that's called nididhyasana. Brahmakara vritti. All this evolves spontaneously. You don't have to work hard. Am I pushing my mind to Brahmakara or not? Is it Vishayakara? Is it Brahmakara? You don't have to do that. It all happens. But when you study, you are given all these separate descriptions. So, as a result of his repeated practice of listening, reflection and meditation, he came to the conclusion that the self alone is real. That the world is a mere illusion. Thrilled with joy, he spoke the following. This, in a storyline, Shukra Kacha attained enlightenment. And that ecstasy of enlightenment he expresses through words, verses. The self alone fills this universe. Even as the water is seen everywhere during deluge. It's a highly poetic language. Just like in deluge state, you see everything drowned, just water. But that's a negative experience. Here is a deluge of the water of bliss. All the pleasures of the world are little buildings, cities and villages. Divine bliss is a powerful deluge, drowns everything. All your experiences, think of all your experiences, all your imaginations, they are cities, blocks, have different activities going on, cars moving and lots of things going on. But there comes a hurricane with a big flood. All gets flooded. That's a tragic development. But, put it in another way, all your senses and mind and emotions create a big city, a big world. That entire world is drowned in the ecstasy, all is Brahman. Bliss of Brahman inundates all names and forms. It's not a allegorical. The world is always prapancha. 5 points go to form the world. Sat, there is existence behind everything. Chit, everything is recognized on the basis of consciousness. Ananda, and every movement, every creature lives in the world for happiness. So, the deepest ingredients behind the entire universe is Sat Chit Ananda. And Sat Chit Ananda are not three things, three aspects of the same reality. But counting in three, Sat Chit Ananda, veiled by names and forms. Names and forms arise out of limited minds. Minds that are not enlightened. Names, forms, they are not reality. So, majority of people are involved in living in the realm of names and forms. Names exist in your mind in the form of concepts, ideas. Forms exist in the external world. Simple illustration, you buy a house. You have two ways of looking at your house. One, your legal papers. Another, the house. I'm giving a allegorical way to understand. Two ways. Internally, your mind says, now I am the owner of this house. This owner aspect is in your mind. The house is out there. What is in your mind called name, naam. What's outside is called form, roop. Your soul is involved in these 5 factors, where Nam Roop, that is not reality. Due to ignorance, Jiva, the individual soul, looks for permanency in the realm of names and forms. Names and forms can go into countless variations, but that's not your goal. You can have all this, but only one thing spoils everything: mortality. This world continues to provide conditions of pleasure and pain for the ignorant. But when observed with penetrating vision of wisdom, is seen as the self alone. When you dream, you go through experiences of pleasure, pain. Terrible situations arise, as well as pleasant situations arise. While dreaming, you have no idea that nothing of this is real. Wake up and nothing is there. So you are dealing with 2 things: experiencing all, and a shocking news: nothing is real. If you understand on the basis of dream, apply the same understanding in your practical daily life. All things that you are experiencing, the experience itself is not real. All things that come into your iPad and they begin to flash with your fingertips, but nothing is real. You can tap on a certain hotel. They will show you all these smoky little wonderful dishes. But nothing can really go into you. All is illusion. Similarly, your mystic iPad working through your technology of brain and nervous system is creating all these experiences. So let not your soul become relaxed with this. Let the soul understand all this is provided for the soul to move towards liberation. Ghat ghat mein hai Sai Ramata. All this is expression of Brahman. Remember, Prakriti and Brahman. Brahman is the reality, absolute reality. His magical power is called Prakriti. Now, Prakriti becomes 3 types. Sattva predominating, Maya. Brahman through Maya plays the role of Brahma the creator, Vishnu the sustainer, Shiva the destroyer. Same Brahman through Rajas predominating Prakriti known as avidya expresses as countless souls, like so many countless reflected suns, all being controlled by Ishvara in 3 aspects: Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Same Brahman through Tamas predominating Prakriti creates the entire world of matter. Not even a single speck of dust is without the reality of Brahman. Brahman is the reality behind all that. Just like in your dream, your own personality of the waking state is the reality behind everything of your dream. Similarly, God or Atma, the Self, Brahman, that's the reality. And the purpose of scripture and religion is to awaken the soul, to realize I am that. And I am all this. I am. This world continues to provide conditions of pleasure and pain for the ignorant. But when observed with penetrating vision of wisdom, is seen as the self alone. I am the self. And therefore, what's there for me to accept or to reject? Anything you want to accept in your dream or reject in your dream, both vanish when you wake up. So what's there to accept or to reject? I am the surging ocean of bliss. I am the all-pervading reality. I am the very essence of all that exists. Thus did Kacha sing the glory of the self while meditating in the forests of Mount Meru. He practiced meditation on Om, and having dissolved the physical consciousness into mental consciousness, and later into cosmic consciousness, he rose beyond the three states and became one with the Absolute. Many of the writings in Yoga Vasistha are so condensed. But if you continue studying it, same Yoga Vasistha brings the same topic and illustrates it. If you are wiser, listen to satsanga talks on these things. Let me give you a little talk on that. Om Upasana. Om has 4 aspects. A-U-M, and the 4th is called Ardhamatra. It is not pronounced. In Hindi literature, it's called, it stops. For example, word arm. If you're saying arm, M contains a little vowel in it. If that vowel is removed, you will say not arm. So that is strange happening in a literature called Ardhamatra. The last stage, instead of being full matra, cut half of it. And we don't go into too much of that, but these 4 points, A, focus your mind at your navel center and mentally imagine Om radiating from your navel center. At this stage, allow your mind to have a profounder understanding. First stage, I am the body. Ask your mind, is there any doubt about it? There's no doubt about it. Your body, you are I am the body. Next stage, but the body is inseparably related to the whole world. So if you are the body, and you are bold to say it, Then be wise, grow up, say it. Whole universe is I am. The state of mind when it says I am the body is called Vishwa. And when the mind says I am all this, called Virat. Identified with the body, the soul is known as Vishwa. Identified with the whole world, soul is Virat. So the soul is both Vishwa and Virat. And that's the upasana, A aspect pointing to this. U aspect come to next center, Anahata chakra. And now you begin to understand, when the first stage becomes a little mature, you grow up and understand that even the idea I am the body is not in the body. Go to a doctor and have your body rendered unconscious. You don't even know what has happened. So body idea is not in the body at all. It's only in your mind. So now, the physical world has been transcended. Your world of reality is mind. But again, identified with individual mind, one is called Tejas. That individual mind is inseparably related with the entire cosmic mind. Just like your body cannot be separated from the cosmos, cosmic body. Your mind cannot be separated from the cosmic mind. So therefore, I am Tejas, I am my individual mind, but then I am Hiranyagarbha, the mind behind all minds. And allow the experience of Yoga Nidra. All is myself. And then go further. Focus at the Ajna chakra between your eyebrows. All those centers have their special purpose. Right now, time is being short. I'm just giving you summary. Now come to M stage, A-U-M. M stage means even the mind, conscious mind of yours, emanates from the unconscious. That unconscious is called the causal body within yourself. So I am that causal state. Sanskrit word is prajna. And as such, the causal state of the entire universe is Ishvara. So I am prajna, therefore I am Ishvara. Just like Vishwa, Virat, Tejas, Hiranyagarbha, Prajna, Ishvara. The entire universe, from its very root, is I am. Now, come to another stage. All this moves away, just like you have gotten away from your dream. First you have started understanding all the dream things you see, you. Then you begin to understand all the subconscious impressions that have created dream, that's you. And then you wake up. Then all those things are not there in your mind, simply vanished. In other words, With A is physical plane, with U subtle plane, M causal plane. Fourth, transcendent. All that is presented by Om, Om, Om. Kacha practiced that. He became like the sky from which the clouds of delusion have been scattered by the mighty wind of wisdom. And nothing more can be done. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukmiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om